The night before his arrest, Jesus did not sleep. But this video is not about that night. This is about the nights before. The ones no gospel ever recorded. The ones where he gathered his closest disciples in the dark and taught them something the church would later bury for 2,000 years. He taught them how to leave. Not through death, not through suffering, not through decades of meditation in a cave. He taught them how to exit this physical prison while the body still breathed, while the heart still beat, while the world believed they were simply sleeping. If you are watching this right now, something inside you already knows what I am about to say. You have felt it, that strange sensation between waking and sleeping. That moment where you felt yourself lifting, expanding, becoming untethered from the weight of your own bones. And then, just as quickly, you snapped back, pulled down by something you could not name. That was not a dream. That was not your imagination. That was your spirit, remembering what it once knew how to do. And that sudden pull back into your body was not natural. It was a lock, a frequency cage designed to keep you inside. Tonight, you are going to understand why that happens, and more importantly, you are going to learn what Jesus actually taught about escaping it. This is not metaphor. This is not poetry. The Gnostic texts that survived the flames speak of a specific gate, a passage that opens only in the state between sleep and death, a threshold the ancients called the Astral Monad Gate, the doorway back to the source, back to the monad, back to the original light from which your spirit was torn. The Archons know about this gate. They have always known, and they have spent centuries making sure you never find it. But you found this video. That is not coincidence. That is frequency. That is remembrance. And by the time you finish listening, you will understand exactly why you were meant to hear this tonight. To understand what Jesus taught in those hidden nights, you must first understand where you actually are. Not geographically, not physically, but cosmically. Because the truth about this reality is far stranger than any religion has dared to tell you. The ancient Gnostics knew something that modern churches have systematically erased. They understood that the God of this world is not the true God. The being who shaped this physical universe, the one who demands worship, the one who punishes and rewards, is not the infinite source. He is something else entirely. The Gnostics called him the demiurge, a blind creator, a flawed architect who built a prison and convinced the prisoners they were free. This is not blasphemy. This is history that was burned. The Nag Hammadi texts, discovered in 1945, revealed what early Christians actually believed before the church rewrote everything. They spoke of a realm beyond this one, a dimension of pure light called the pleroma. And within that infinite light exists the monad, the true source, the original consciousness from which all souls were born. You are a fragment of that source, a spark of the monad, trapped inside flesh. And the demiurge, along with his servants, the Archons, has constructed an elaborate system to keep you from ever returning home. This is where sleep becomes important. Every night, when your conscious mind shuts down, your spirit enters a vulnerable state. The boundary between your body and your soul becomes thin, almost permeable. The ancients knew this was the moment of greatest danger and greatest opportunity, because in that threshold state, you can either be harvested or you can escape. The Archons have perfected the art of harvesting. They feed on human energy, fear, confusion, desire, attachment. Every night, as billions of humans sleep, their dream states are manipulated. Nightmares are not random. They are engineered, looping dreams of anxiety, of being chased, of losing control. These are extraction programs designed to generate the emotional frequencies that Archons consume. But there is another possibility. Jesus knew that the same doorway used for harvesting could be used for liberation. The state between waking and sleeping, what modern researchers call the hypnagogic state, is not just a biological transition. It is a spiritual portal, a crack in the prison wall. And if you know how to move through it consciously, you can exit the body without dying. This is what he taught the disciples, not in parables, not in symbols, direct instruction. The Gospel of Thomas, one of the texts the church labeled heretical and tried to destroy, contains fragments of this teaching. In saying 42, Jesus says simply, "Become passers-by." Most scholars interpret this as a metaphor for detachment, but the Gnostics understood it literally. Become beings who pass through, who cross the boundary, who exit and return. The Pistis Sophia, another Gnostic text that survived, goes even further. It describes the soul's journey through the heavens, past the Archons who guard each gate, and back to the realm of light. But here is what most people miss. This journey does not require physical death. The text speaks of those who have learned to ascend while still in the body, the living who walk among the dead. This is the secret the church could never allow. Think about why. If every human being could learn to exit the body during sleep, to experience the monad directly, to return with the knowledge that this physical world is not their true home, the entire system of control would collapse. No one would fear death. No one would cling to material possessions. No one would need a priest to intercede between them and the divine. The archonic system depends on your ignorance. It depends on you believing that this body is all you are, that this life is your only chance, that death is either the end or a gamble on some future judgment. But what if you could die every night and return every morning? What if sleep was never meant to be unconscious? The yogis of the East discovered fragments of this same truth. They called it Yoga Nidra, conscious sleep. The Tibetan masters developed dream yoga, techniques for maintaining awareness as the body entered the sleep state. But these traditions took decades to master. They required renunciation of ordinary life. They were paths for monks, not for fishermen and tax collectors. What Jesus taught was different, faster, more direct. He did not ask his disciples to spend 20 years in meditation. He did not demand they withdraw from the world. He gave them a key that worked immediately, a frequency that opened the gate, a state of consciousness that could be achieved in a single night by anyone who was ready. The question is, are you ready? Because readiness is not about worthiness. It is not about being morally pure or spiritually advanced. Readiness is about recognition. It is about that moment when you hear something and your entire being says, "Yes, I remember this." That recognition is the spark of the monad inside you, responding to its own frequency. It is your true self waking up inside the dream. And if you have made it this far into this video, that recognition is already happening. The Archons cannot stop what is already in motion. They can distract you. They can make you sleepy. They can fill your mind with doubts and questions and the sudden urge to check your phone. But they cannot extinguish the spark that is now remembering. So, let us go deeper. The gate I am about to describe exists in a very specific location within consciousness. It is not above you. It is not outside you. It is in the space between your thoughts, in the silence that exists beneath the constant noise of your mind. Jesus called this place the kingdom of heaven. and he said, "It is within you, not in the sky, not after death, within you, right now, accessible tonight." But accessing it requires understanding something crucial about how the Archons have programmed your sleep. From the moment you were born, you were trained to fall asleep unconsciously. No one taught you how to cross the threshold with awareness. No one explained that the moments before sleep are the most spiritually significant seconds of your entire day. Instead, you were taught to collapse into darkness, to let go, to disappear until morning. This is not natural. This is programming. In ancient times, sleep was approached as a sacred practice. The Egyptians built entire temples devoted to the art of conscious dreaming. The Greek mystery schools at Eleusis taught initiates how to die before death through sleep rituals. Every advanced civilization understood that the night was not for rest alone. It was for travel, for liberation, for communion with realms beyond the physical. But that knowledge was systematically destroyed. The Archons work through human institutions, through religions that promise salvation
but deliver bondage,
through sciences that explain the brain but ignore the soul, through cultures that worship productivity and dismiss the night as mere biological maintenance. You have been conditioned to waste the very hours that could set you free. Tonight, that changes. The technique Jesus taught operates on a simple but profound principle. The Archons cannot harvest what they cannot find, and they find you through your thoughts, through the endless mental chatter that broadcasts your location like a beacon. When you fall asleep thinking, worrying, planning, replaying, you are essentially announcing yourself to every parasitic entity in the astral realm. But there is a frequency beneath thought, a silent awareness that exists before the mind begins its noise. The Gnostics called this the pneumatic state, the breath of the monad still alive within you. When you access this frequency, you become invisible to the Archons. You slip beneath their radar and the gate opens. Here is how it works. Tonight, when you lie down to sleep, you will not do what you normally do. You will not review your day. You will not think about tomorrow. You will not let your mind wander into its habitual loops. Instead, you will focus on one thing only: the feeling of existence itself. Not thoughts about existence, the raw sensation of being, the simple awareness that you are, before your name, before your history, before your problems and desires. There is something that simply is. That presence is the monad within you. And when you hold your attention on that presence as the body falls asleep, something extraordinary happens. The body sleeps, but you do not. This is the secret. The body must sleep. It needs sleep. But consciousness does not need to sleep with it. They can be separated. And in that separation, the gate appears. You will feel it as a shift. The heaviness of the body will fade. You may feel vibrations, a kind of humming energy that seems to fill your entire being. Some experience a sensation of floating. Others hear sounds, rushing wind or distant tones. These are not hallucinations. These are the signs that the gate is opening. The Archons have installed a fail-safe at this exact moment: fear. When the separation begins, the mind often panics. It thinks something is wrong. It floods the body with adrenaline and snaps you back into physical awareness. This is why most people have only glimpsed this state before being pulled back. But now that you know, the fear loses its power. The fear is not real. It is a program, an alarm system installed by those who do not want you to leave. When you feel it arise, do not fight it. Simply observe it. Recognize it for what it is: a lock on a door that you now have the key to open. Breathe slowly. Hold your focus on the feeling of pure existence, and the fear will pass through you like wind through an open window. Beyond the fear is the gate. The Astral Monad Gate does not look like a physical doorway. It is experienced as a vast opening, an infinite expansion. Some describe it as moving through a tunnel of light. Others experience it as dissolving into an ocean of warmth. The specific imagery matters less than the direction. You are moving toward the source, toward the monad, toward, in this state, you may encounter beings. Some will appear as guides, luminous and welcoming. Others may attempt to redirect you, to convince you to return to the body, to follow them somewhere else. The Gnostic texts are clear about this. Not every light is the true light. The Archons can disguise themselves. They can appear beautiful and benevolent. The test is simple. The true light does not demand. It does not persuade. It does not need you to follow. It simply is. And when you feel it, you will know. Because it will feel like remembering, like coming home after an exile so long you forgot you were ever away. This is not a one-time experience. Once you learn to find the gate, you can return every night. Each journey deepens your connection to the monad. Each return to the body brings more of that light back with you. Over time, you begin to change, not through effort, not through discipline, through direct contact with what you truly are. The ancients called this gnosis, direct knowledge, not belief, not faith, not hope. Knowledge, the kind that transforms because it is not learned from outside, but remembered from within. This is what Jesus offered his disciples in those secret nights. Not a religion, not a set of rules, not a promise of future salvation. He offered them immediate experience, direct access. The kingdom of heaven, not as a destination after death, but as a living reality they could enter before sunrise. And this is what he offers you now. The church removed these teachings because they made the church unnecessary. If you can commune with the divine directly, you do not need intermediaries. If you can die each night and return each morning, you do not fear the death they threaten you with. If you know from personal experience that you are an eternal being of light temporarily housed in matter, their entire system of control evaporates. You were never meant to live in ignorance. You were never meant to sleep through the very hours designed for your liberation. You were never meant to wait until physical death to discover what lies beyond. The gate is real. The technique is simple. And tonight, everything can change. But before you practice this, there is one more thing you must understand. The most important thing. The reason why this works for some and not for others. The secret that separates those who merely hear this information from those who actually use it to transform their existence. The difference is not talent. It is not spiritual advancement. It is not karma or luck or divine favor. The difference is simple. Those who experience the gate are those who actually lie down tonight and practice what they have learned. Those who do not are those who say tomorrow, who save this video for later, who let the Archons whisper that they are not ready yet. You are ready. You have always been ready. The only thing missing was the knowledge, and now you have it. Not because you earned it, not because you are better than others, but because something in you called out, and the universe answered. That calling is the monad recognizing itself. It is your true nature pulling you toward remembrance. Tonight, when darkness falls and the world grows quiet, you have a choice. You can sleep as you have always slept, unconscious, harvested, trapped in dreams designed by forces that do not love you. Or you can do something different. You can lie down with intention. You can hold your awareness on the feeling of pure existence. You can watch as the body falls asleep while you remain awake. And you can walk through the gate that has been waiting for you since the moment you were born into this realm. The Archons will try to stop you. They will make you tired before you begin. They will fill your mind with doubts. They will convince you that this is fantasy, that you are being foolish, that nothing will happen. Let them try. Their power depends on your ignorance, and you are no longer ignorant. You know what you are. A spark of the infinite monad, a pneumatic being temporarily clothed in matter, a chosen one, not by external selection, but by internal recognition. This video will end, but what it has awakened will not. Share this with the one person who comes to mind right now. They found their way to you for the same reason you found your way here. Subscribe if you want to go deeper, and leave the word awake in the comments so others can find their tribe. The gate opens tonight. Walk through.